Hello, everybody. Welcome to the All About Holly book talk, where we are going to be discussing the third in the Bill Hodges trilogy, End of Watch. Right there. So, this is going to be a spoiler discussion. It's just sort of expected that you have read this book if you're watching this video. So, we're not going to hold back too much on the story. So, okay. Let's start with you, Gareth. You've read all three in Bill Hodges. Yep. All right. What do you think of this one, and how does it compare with the others?
I really liked it. I think it's interesting that all three are quite different from each other. So they've got the same characters, and they're all crime books, but they've got a different structure, different way of telling the story, and ultimately this third one. I suppose we can do spoilers, but it's definitely more. It's definitely more fantastical. So it's not. The other two are grounded in reality a bit more. You can see there are hints of the plot of this one in the second one. My favourite one's the first one, but I'd liked all three of them, and I think all three of them have got a lot of tension, and there's some bits where you're like, oh my god, which is very cool. I thought it was really good. But yeah, my favourite one was the first one.
Interesting.
All right. Alan, what about you?
Yeah, I read and enjoyed all three. I like to call the first two like more crime novels, and the last one is more of his thing. Is more. I want to say that it's spiritual. That's not the right word. More supernatural. With the gotta suspend your disbelief.
Right. There was only a little bit of Brady at the very end of now. Did he? I can't remember if he showed a little bit of hint of Brady in the first book, or was he just out of it?
I think it was in the second book. I don't remember anything like that in the first book.
The second book.
And
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if he showed a little bit in the first.
And it wouldn't be anyway. It wouldn't be anyway because it happens after, doesn't it? Because it's because of the doctor doing those experiments on him that he starts getting all those powers and that, isn't it?
Right.
Well, I think the second book he started to move things, like make his mother's photo fall.
Right, he did.
Yeah,
but that's
yeah.
You're not told in that one, but you get the idea that
he doesn't do
the experiments are going on at that point.
Exactly. There you go. Yeah.
But he doesn't do anything like he does in the third book in the second the end of the second book.
No.
My favorite of the three. My favorite of the three, though, is the second one, with all the writerly business and the manuscripts and the hiding in the prison stuff. Although what's his name is a bit too easy going, put it like that, to the prisoners. I mean, King goes into that. We didn't really mention it last time. All the brutal prison stuff that I guess occurs, but I enjoyed the second one. But the third one, I like it when King goes off the deep end, as it were, with that supernatural, and he really doesn't get much.
I feel like even though I said you have to suspend your disbelief a bit, it's a bit fantastical. For me, even though I really did genuinely like the plot, the second book I had to suspend my disbelief that someone would be that obsessed by an author.
True.
Oh no, I can see some people getting totally hooked on an author and going after everything in their lives, but
obviously compared to Misery was like the author was right in front of her, and it was a captive audience, and it was kind of different. Whereas there was just such an elaborate plot based on this obsession that for me, that was kind of for me the weak point in the second book. that it was all driven by that. And weirdly, the third book seems less fantastical,
Oh yeah, that's funny.
even though it's really fantastical. What about you, Greg? What do you think?
I'm going to tell you. I'm going to give you just a quick hi to everyone. Hey, Leslie.
Hey,
Hey,
Leslie.
Dad. She's saying, Gareth, thank you for sharing your story in your latest video. Well, we'll talk maybe a little bit about that. Hey, Nim. Good to see you stop by. She finished the book on audio and physical. These books are so big, the audio was really helpful. What happened to Cliff? Well, Cliff had to leave town this weekend, so he wasn't able to make the show, unfortunately. We can definitely see an author obsessed. On the other way around, these stories are creepiest. People can definitely be obsessed with, yeah. Okay, so I'm like Gareth. My favorite was the first book. And I liked it because I think King does very well when he does crime stories and just sticks to the genre and tells a good crime story. Then I liked Finders Keepers. And a lot of it was like Alan is. I really sort of digged the first quarter of that book when Bill was not even in the book. It was just talking about whatever his name was, obsession with the not
the kid Peter, I think, but
not the kid, the criminal.
the criminal, yeah.
Essentially the author in the book was J.D. Salinger, even though it wasn't J.D. Salinger. It was a stand-in for J.D. Salinger. And I could see how some people get so upset with J.D. Salinger that they would go nuts. And he stopped writing. But still, I really like that part. And then again, you get into the whole crime story. And then the third one, I like this one, but it's the whole supernatural plot just felt a little weak to me. It's like he had the Brady was such an evil man in the first one. And then he said, I have to bring him back, but he's dead. So let's invent these old powers so he can come back and haunt people again. I mean, it's okay. It wasn't over the top with supernatural powers the way King can sometimes.
Yeah, it wasn't like overpowered. It was just a device he used on it to create the crime. Yes.
So that part was okay. I just sort of thought he could have done a more normal crime story to usher out the end of Bill Hodges. Now, the book is called End of Watch. I think everyone picking up kind of knows from the first few chapters that Bill is going to die at the end of this book. I mean, that's
yeah. When we say there's going to be spoilers, there's going to be spoilers.
Spoilers. I expect people to have read this, and I thought that was okay because it shows a man who had a great career, who was doing good things, but his time is coming up. And that way it was a very good look into death. And mortality, that none of us is here forever, and you have to go out the way you're going to go. And I think King gave him a fairly good exit.
Mm-hmm. I was glad that he wasn't the one to commit suicide.
Right.
Like a lot of cops do. But go ahead, Gareth.
No, I was only going to say that I think the way that Bill Hodges has been portrayed in all three books is really ordinary, and I like that. He's not like a Dirty Harry kind of character. He's not really cocky. He's really, really down to earth, and he kind of had a down to earth death as well. A very ordinary death, and I think that was quite cool.
I liked it because Bill Hodges was what a private detective would be like in real life. Yeah. I mean, he's not the hard-boiled super detectives. I like those stories, but he was a very realistic detective. He had no superpowers and no super intellect. If anything, Holly was the smarter of the two, that she could do all the computer stuff and get out where Bill was a practical guy.
They both learned and grew from each other. I look forward to the next ones.
Well, yeah, because Holly increased her role in the books as well as it went along, right?
Absolutely. You could see her just growing. I mean, in the first book, she was, I don't know the medical term, but sort of traumatized and isolated, very withdrawn into herself and not engaging in the world at all.
Yeah.
Until she
And King said that he didn't really plan on doing much with her, and then he kind of just grew to like her as he wrote her character. So that's why you can see her more in him. And then Andy Ellsworth ends up writing a whole book about her. But in Mr. Mercedes, she's literally a bit part.
Mhm.
Well, she has a major role in that one, especially at
Towards
the end of
the
the
end.
book.
Oh yeah, at the end. Yeah, that's true. That is true. Yeah. So yeah, it does come through to the end. But maybe that's when it started. When he started thinking, actually, that's how I want to end it because I want to use her more.
Yeah, well, authors often change things when they're writing. Like he could have originally envisioned the book of Bill Hodges coming in and taking out Brady.
Yeah.
But then he says,
I love the ending. I love the ending of the first one. I thought it's and to be fair, the ending of the second one as well. Why can I not remember the ending of the third one? I've generally just read it. They're in the hunting lodge. Yeah. Just really good endings, actually. Yeah, big up for King endings.
Yeah,
he does like to Hollywoodize the endings a lot. So
I like his ending. Shoot me.
I like it when he doesn't go over the top too much. I mean, it was the first one. It was like all these things were happening that needed to happen. It's like there had to be the FBI raid on the gun runners, and everyone celebrating that. Made him necessary not to call the police to get the guy in the book.
Yeah.
But again, he had a situation where normally you would say, okay, police, go get this guy. But he did not have the evidence and the gray-eyed beauty. What was she called? Gray-eyed beauty? The woman police officer.
Oh, yeah. What's her name?
Isabel.
Yeah, the one that was his ex-partner's new partner, wasn't it?
Yeah, and she was just like, I'm not accepting any of this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
She was so focused that
Which makes sense. He could see all the evidence that led to it, and it doesn't make any sense if you didn't have that evidence. You'd be like, what are you on about? That's crazy.
Right.
So you had that character that was more like the viewer, if you like, or the reader, sort of saying this is madness, but all the signs were there, and it wasn't really, because sometimes this is happening at the moment. Actually, this is TV, but we're watching. My wife really loves the new version of Magnum, and the thing with that show, sometimes they'll just say stuff in the script that moves the plot along. We just think, how did you get to that conclusion? And they just sort of like, it just helps the episode, but it doesn't make sense that they'd conclude that quickly. That they'd figure things out that quickly. And I think the one thing about these books, especially this last one, where there was so many different pieces being put together, that it was all kind of like done in a nice kind of gradual way that made sense.
That they had to actually fit the pieces and figure out, like, what the ones that I kind of liked is that you had these devices, which were the game. What do they call the Zippets?
Yeah.
And they know they were out. They knew they went out of business, but there were all these Zippets showing up. And Bill went through the procedures. Okay, we know they went out of business. Call the lawyers. Figure out what happened.
Yeah, Zippets were like Game Boys.
Yeah, they were like the Game Boys. And so he went through all those details, and it takes time because you just can't figure it out. And then he finally called up the guy over. Just, can you tell me where you sent these things? And then they run over and they meet up with Freddie from the first book.
Yeah.
Yeah, from the computer
The
store.
computer store, yeah. And I kind of liked her showing up again.
Yeah.
That happened a few times, wasn't it? There'd be a callback to one of the other books, and you're like, actually, This is a trilogy, even though they're so
Does quite a
different.
lot. The father from Finders Keepers makes a brief appearance.
Yeah,
I believe the Peter and the sister make
yeah.
brief appearances. So I kind of like. I mean, it all works together and fits in.
You know, there is growth in Holly's character, but she still is still has her naivete with her. She can't say curse words. She can't. Oh, she's trying to quit smoking. She's doing a good job, but she always has her Nicorette gum and that, right?
Yeah.
And she's got a joint at one point. She's got a joint, but she doesn't smoke it. She's saving it for like anxiety or whatever.
Yeah, she's still got social anxiety, isn't she? Which I think is like a thread running through it as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think, those kind of things, that vulnerability, I think, is what he liked about her, King. Yeah.
Well, I like the growth that she's becoming less and less vulnerable.
Yeah.
As the stories come on, or advance. And now I know she's going to be on her own in Outsider, although she's going to have Jerome with her. I assume that he's going to make an appearance. I don't know.
Yeah, me neither. I'm going into both of these. Can't wait to read the short story collection. But so this is next.
That's the next one.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, great.
I think I didn't really connect to Jerome in the first book, really, but I think he did some really interesting things with him, and I really liked what happened with Jerome in the third book, especially.
Well, I kept wondering where's Jerome? Where's Jerome? When we finally find out he's building houses.
We were told early on that he was away, but he had to be brought back into the story. Now, the one thing that was a little obvious is when Hodges was telling Jerome, "Oh, you got to go home and be the guy that says something goes wrong." I said, "Okay, he's not gonna. He's gonna come in and be the savior when something really goes off kilter."
Well, it was his sister, though, wasn't it? His sister.
No, his sister was the one that told him, "Get your ass back there."
Yeah. So it's like the cliche that proved yourself right, but he wasn't necessarily going to go down that road, but then he did. Isn't it? It's like one of those. It's like when he says, "Oh no, go home," he could have kept like that and then like solved it a different way, but then he ends up coming back and basically saving them. And they were screwed if he hadn't turned up. They were screwed. So yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't call it a Deus Ex Machina, but some people would say that. I don't know.
The
God of the
it was
machine.
foreshadowed. The Deus Ex Machina is when it just comes out of nowhere.
Yeah.
It's like it would have been if Jerome had been written out of the plot.
And then suddenly turns up.
And all of a sudden he says, "Oh yeah, I figured out what's going on. I showed up." But
that's why I didn't think it was. I thought it was fine. When I read it, I was like, okay, it makes sense.
It made total sense that he was going to come in and either that or the police were going to swarm down and Miss Gray Eyes, Isabel, was going to suddenly see the light of day.
But again, it's nice that it wasn't her because she was cynical for the whole thing and thought it was nonsense. So. Yeah. I mean, it could have been. Is it Pete, his old partner? Was it Pete?
Yeah.
Pete, yeah.
Yeah, it could have been him. That would have made sense as well.
Could have been him. But he was like also trying to say, "I'm retiring. Keep me out of it. I don't want to get involved."
Yeah.
I don't want to go.
Well, and when Bill Hodges first started telling him the plot, he's going, "What? What are you on about?" And he thought at first it was non, but then he started seeing the evidence himself, and he think, "Okay, maybe there's something in this," which again I thought was a nice part of the development of it.
I did. I thought it made a very solid trilogy because it had progression. It had three distinct parts, and now the only thing is you can't pick up End of Watch on your own and read it. You really need to read Mr. Mercedes.
Yeah.
You could skip Finders Keepers, I think.
Yeah.
I
And you
think
could probably read Finders Keepers without reading Mr. Mercedes as well.
you can.
Yeah, I can
That's
see
like an
that.
independent book in between those two.
Yeah. And I think that's because he wrote 2 separate books where he wanted to use the same characters, but he didn't want them connected. And then he made a decision writing the third one that he wanted to connect them, and he used the third one to connect them.
Do you think that was his plot originally? I mean, I have not read any criticism on how these. I mean, do you think Mr. Mercedes was originally going to be just a standalone? And then
Yeah,
he
I
said,
think so.
I like
I think
these
so.
characters. Let's
Yeah.
see what I can do with them.
Yeah, I think so.
See, now that can make sense because in Finders Keepers, the first, like it was third, with just the ex-criminal and the boy, that could have been a book in and of itself without Bill
Yeah.
Hodge.
Yeah, it could have been a different detective, and it wasn't connected at all. And I think
You
that's the
didn't
thing,
even
that
need
he
it.
might have had that idea, and then said, "Actually, I'm going to use those guys that I wrote about in Mr. Mercedes."
Right. It could have been. I mean, he says, "Well, how am I going to get Pete out of this?" Oh, why don't I bring Bill back in?
Yeah, yeah. And
Yeah.
then probably by the time he'd finished writing it, he clearly had the idea of the third one, because then he started bringing in a telekinesis in it.
Yes, he did. He clearly had this book in mind when he wrote that one, that he was going to finish it off.
Yeah, that'd be a good question for King. In fact, let's bring him in now. But and for our next show, Greg's getting us.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine on a Monday
I
night?
need about times 10 the number of subscribers that I have to pull off that one.
That would be amazing.
It would be
And if
amazing.
you watch
but
interviews with him, it's so funny that they like when they do like interviews on like American breakfast shows and stuff. They always ask him the most boring questions, and they're always like, "What scares you?" And it's just like he must think, "Oh, really? I've got to answer that question again."
Yeah.
You know, how do you write? Oh, really? You know,
Where do you get your ideas? Yeah, God.
yeah. It's always the same questions.
Yeah. But like this book of the trilogy, like Hemingway said, every story told long enough ends in death. And
There's a lot of death in this one.
yeah, oh man,
Yeah.
oh yeah, like
And
with that one scene, I was yelling out loud with they revisited like Mr. Mercedes with the car crash again and that,
Yeah.
and with the bones breaking. I was going, hey.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing, that Brady was a really nasty piece of work before it came to the third book, and obviously what he's doing in the third book is absolutely the definition of evil. What he's doing, getting those kids to do that.
Before we get into all that, he's kind of cool. Like there's a reference to Black Sabbath. He likes Black Sabbath, things like that. I'm not saying he's cool, but if he wasn't a raving psychopath, he'd be,
Well, he liked the Wild Bunch movie, which was
that's right. I remember that. Yeah, because there's a bit where, because that's interesting, isn't it? A decision he made, which I think works, but it's interesting that, I don't know, about 250 pages in, he kind of does the backstory of Brady and how he grew up and all that, isn't it?
That was a lot of a repeat from the Mr. Mercedes, though.
Oh, okay.
I think he had to, because on some level he had to know that some people were going to pick up End of Watch without reading Mr. Mercedes.
Yeah, that's true.
Even though I don't think it works very well without it, but
no.
Some people almost certainly would have done that. So you do get that repeat of the backstory.
I suppose, and then he got because it's tied in with the development of the experiments on him as well, and why he got all those powers as well. So I suppose that's the new stuff, isn't it? But because you could argue it's science fiction because it's based around those experiments.
For sure. And we're going to get into the suicide in that, but Brady, halfway through the book, Brady commits suicide. He's living through the doctor.
I see. I mean, that's because his consciousness had left the body.
Ooh.
And he wasn't killing himself, and in that sense, he was just saying, "I'm getting rid of this old container where I
Yeah,
used to
the
reside."
vessel. The vessel.
Yeah, yeah. Which is obviously that's one of the fantastic elements in it that you got to buy into it. If you don't buy into it, you're going to drop it and go, "This is bollocks," in it. But
Well, for a King book, that's pretty tame for what he pulls off in a lot of his books. So,
yeah.
He
I
didn't
mean,
quite-
go on,
he
Al.
didn't quite raise him from the dead, but
Yeah.
But
the way he controls the teenagers is obviously another element where you would have to suspend your disbelief because it's like that he controls everything they do.
he
Yeah, well,
does, but
I have a noted here. I don't know if it's mentioned in the book, but I put down Brady will be the Jim Jones of the 21st century. Is that my thought, or was that in the book?
they mentioned Jim Jones in the book somewhere.
Yeah, it's a quote from the third book, I think.
Oh, okay.
I can tell you where.
Boy, I remember in the 80s when Jim Jones happened, and I saw the movie version in a theater with a girlfriend in high school. That mass suicide. That was how Jim Jones had trained them with the Kool-Aid, and then
Yeah.
math hypnosis or whatever. So,
yeah, and I suppose there was a bit of a hypnosis element to it because he was doing it through persuade, like targeting their self-loathing or their low self-esteem and that kind of thing, wasn't it? And saying that you're useless and that kind of thing, wasn't it? Which is obviously where that journey starts.
A lot of teenagers have that low self-esteem where you would be susceptible. Now, Alan, you're right.
That's why he did it. That's why he did it. Do you know what I mean? I think when you read the author's note at the end, you know that Stephen King had that in mind. He was thinking about the problem, the social problem that's a real problem. They wanted to write about it.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, Alan, on page 332, he will be the Jim Jones of the 21st century. That's Brady thinking about himself.
Oh, I see. Yeah,
he does because he does that a few times. He goes on about how great it is what he's doing, and he's going to be remembered.
He's going to be remembered as this hero of mass death or something.
Yeah.
So we got a question here. It's been up for a while. Now that you have read the trilogy, I'd be interested in hearing your thoughts on the TV series. I haven't seen it.
Yeah, we're not watchers. I watch sports and news.
I can have a look to see if it's available to me because it might be. So I would be interested in seeing it. It'd be interesting to see if it.
If it's on video, I can get it. Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I like the series just as it is, so I would probably pass on watching the series.
Well, remember, every single book has been adapted into a film or a TV series, right? By King. Every single book by King.
I think that is correct.
I reckon he might find a short story somewhere and then say to his agent, "Oi, this one hasn't been adapted. What's going on?" It's one story.
And the Tommyknockers is the worst one, in my humble opinion.
Yeah, that's not very good.
Followed by The Dome.
Well, Under the Dome.
Under the Dome, yeah.
Under the Dome, yeah. I saw the first series, but
yeah,
I haven't read it yet.
Oops! Oh, not again! Oh shit! Oh, damn! Oops!
I have not read that one. My King journey ended late 90s when I just sort of stopped picking up every book that he wrote. I just said so some period, some in the middle.
Well, MJ's in the chat, and she and I are gonna buddy read a
MJ
book, of her choice. Now, there's some old ones I haven't read, but like I was starting to think, I love the Richard Bachman books, and I love the tie-ins with like Insomnia and the do regulators like that? I don't know a whole lot about it, but that group of people, the regulators that appear in certain books of his, and they do signals like if you ever see a pair of shoes from the telephone wires, that's a signal that the regulators are there in town, and you know what I mean.
Well, I haven't read the regulators actually. It's one I haven't read. I've got it, but I haven't read it. I'm pretty sure I've got it.
No, they're like a group that of undercover agents that go town to town and do crazy shit.
Oh, okay.
You know, there's books on King like that go into all the tie-ins with his books. And,
Yeah. No, he does do that a lot. He likes putting Easter eggs all over the place, doesn't he?
He does, and I don't think it works all the time when you try to connect everything you've written into one big. Now, Alan, you mentioned that the sneakers and the regulators. You never read Pynchon's Crying of Lot 49 yet.
No, I haven't, but
there's something in there about a symbol that keeps showing up. So you'll have to. The King may have lifted or borrowed a bit.
Oh, okay. I'm going to read it this
A
year.
homage. A homage.
Yes.
King is a homage to Pynchon. Absolutely.
It might be.
Julio.
I know MJ's reading Night Shift at the moment. I think Night Shift's brilliant.
Oh, she's reading. Those are some of his. King really does some good short stories.
Yeah, that's why I'm looking forward to reading that.
What's the one with the rats? The Graveyard Shift.
Yeah, Graveyard Shift. Yeah. That's cool. That's in that book, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, my favorite in the book is Quitters Inc. I absolutely love Quitters Inc.
Oh, Quitters Inc. is
oh, brilliant. A missing finger.
Yeah. Someone's missing a finger. We won't. We'll let MJ figure that one out because she's still reading the book.
Yeah.
Here's bad. At the end, the Holly book will make much sense. Will make much sense even if you can read it alone. I think she's saying that the last Holly book can. I don't think she's read it yet, but it can make sense if you haven't read the others. But maybe like this is like you get more backstory and depth once you've read them all.
Well, and probably we are more invested in her as well. So, if good things happen to Holly, we'll like that more because we've read other books with her in. I think that's part of it as well, isn't it? When you get a regular character.
Yeah. Well, see, I'm actually looking forward to Holly in The Outsider because she's going to go to. I mean, she's got to go. She's got to be the lead. She's not. She's not used to that in her life, and
yeah, it'd be interesting to know if there's any other characters from this trilogy that are going to be in that as well.
Well, I don't know, but in my copy of End of Watch on the Kindle, they had an excerpt from Holly. I didn't read the excerpt. I just flipping through some pages, but I saw the name Freddie come up. So our girl Freddie may make a reappearance in Holly.
This has got excerpts from the other two in the trilogy at the end, which presumably, ideally, you would have read them before you read this. But
so it has excerpts from the earlier two.
Yeah,
okay,
they'd feel like prequels, wouldn't they? They weren't.
I mean, I can understand putting the excerpt for Holly because that comes after this. It's like the newer book, but who's to say what these darn publishers are up to?
Yeah, I suppose there might not have been a lot of options when that came out because that's probably the edition that came out when it came out in paperback. So obviously that would have been the last appearance of Holly.
Right.
So,
depending how old you're, that can make sense.
Yeah. But I don't know anything about the plot of The Outsider or the short story that's in If It Bleeds. Is it the short story If It Bleeds that's got Holly in it? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I was going to discuss it next month, but no. But at least for the show, we'd be just doing If It Bleeds. Now, if we want to go read the rest and talk about it after, that's totally fine.
Yeah. I've got there's about what have I still need to read a story in 4 After Midnight. I think it's called 4 After Midnight. Yeah. I still need there's one story
4
in that
Past
I need
Midnight?
to read. Huh?
I think it's 4 Past Midnight. I can't remember.
4 Past Midnight. Yeah, there's one of those I need to read, and I started reading another one. Oh, what was it? Just After Sunset. I think I started reading that as well. So there are a few incomplete, like still not fully read short story collections of his that I haven't finished yet as well. So yeah, If It Bleeds could be that one story, and then it's like all those others. But yeah.
So, Bet, I still will love to finish Pet Cemetery. Pet
Brilliant book.
Cemetery may be my favorite King book.
Oh, here we go. Yeah. A lot of people say it's their favorite, don't they?
And oddly enough, I think it's one of the books that King dislikes.
Right. That's interesting. Why is that? Do you think it might have been where he was when he wrote it? Like up here, maybe?
Possibly because a big part of the book deals with a certain death of a character.
Yeah.
And
it's definitely it's a book about grief, definitely.
And the problem is that I think wipes some people out. I mean, it's
Yeah, I like Pet Cemetery a lot.
if you're, I don't want to put a spoiler in, but if you're in that situation, that kind of death could just utterly destroy a person.
Yeah,
Sure.
absolutely.
And
You'd never recover.
He just says, I went too far with that. But I think the fact that he went that place, and I think the ending of that book, I remember the last scene, the last words, and it was just amazingly creepy, like a true horror novel.
Yeah,
Right.
I like the Native American aspects in it.
Yeah.
That's a little
It's a
bit,
bit
not a huge amount.
Yeah. It's almost like a little bit of a nod of respect, if you like, isn't it? My Pet Cemetery is my number 5, so I know that because I tried to figure out my top 3 for the video I did. So yeah, Pet Cemetery is my number 5.
Let me think. Your top 3: 1123, 63 is a top.
Yep.
The Shining is 2 or 3.
The Shining for me is number 4.
Oh,
Great. How about
all right. The Stand.
yeah?
No, I haven't read The Stand. I haven't read it.
All right, then I have no idea what your 2 or 3 are.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you might not even like my number 2. I think number 3 is a safe bet. I think most people like number 3, and that's Salem's Lot.
Okay, I only read that in the 80s, so it's been a while.
Yeah,
I read it quite recently, only like 3 years ago or something, 2 years ago. I really, really loved it. And then the other one, sorry, this is a little bit of a say hello.
Hello,
Must be she.
Mrs. Gareth.
Yeah, this is you saying hello, Mrs. Gareth.
Hello.
This is
You too,
She's off to. Shall I tell you where you're going?
if you like.
We're going to go off on a tangent if we start talking about rock and roll bingo.
Yay!
can I come? I'd like that.
Yeah, come along.
Do they have rock and roll bingo in Portland? We'll come down and
Bingo down the street, but not rock and roll bingo.
yeah, they have to answer. They'll play a song in it, and you have to guess what the song is.
Yeah.
And then that's part of the bingo card thing.
Oh,
Oh, brilliant!
Yeah. Anyway, number 2 is Needful Things.
really?
Yeah, I love that.
You see, now when I read Needful Things, I read it when it first came out in hardcover, and that was the book that I think said, "I'm done with Stephen King."
Okay, you were like, no more of this. So I mean, it's very long, and it's like one of those things that you have to buy into the idea of finding out about every single person in the town.
Right.
But for me, the reason why that works is because that is what the book's about. It's about everybody. He's that guy. It sets them all up against each other, doesn't he?
Is that a Newcastle book?
The last Castle Rock story.
Oh,
They
yeah.
advertised it as.
Yeah.
See, my problem was he did something at the end of that book where he went over the top again. He says, like, he just pulled out all the stoppers and just let it flow. And I'm going, put some subtlety into it, dude.
Well, the subtlety is the 500 pages before, right?
I guess.
Well, probably about 800 pages, but yeah.
Something like
But yeah,
that.
I don't. Sometimes I sort of roll my eyes a little bit when there's loads and loads about everybody in the town. But for me, the reason why Neither Things is different is because it's absolutely what the plot is about. You know, he's literally using the people in the town, you know, to just sort of have his enjoyment watching them go against each other. You know,
Yeah.
I can't remember his name. I can't remember the villain's name.
I don't either.
It's Mr. something.
So bad as
No,
that.
I don't think it's
Who already has the Holly book? I don't have the Holly book yet.
No. I need to get it. When are we doing Holly? April, is it?
Yeah. Well, what was it?
Oh,
March? No, March
Ma-
is Outsider. April.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Is it? Good, please. May is Holly.
Yeah, May's Holly. Okay.
I was actually checking my library because usually a Stephen King book has like 8 or 9 weeks, 10 weeks waiting list for books.
Oh,
But they
really?
have copies on digital available now for Holly. So I said I can't because I wanted to get on that waiting list so I can get it in time, but we'll have to see.
Yeah. Almost everything I've got by King I've bought for like £2 from a second-hand shop. So I'm still holding out hope that I'll find Holly cheap.
You might.
Oh, no, I'll be able to get it from the library if not, to be fair.
Leslie, there will be familiar characters in Holly. I won't tell you who. Okay.
Right.
Coolio.
Bet I have the original covers on Christine and Pet Cemetery. What do you think about Christine? I
Greg?
read that when I was a freshman in college. And I remember because it was going back from my winter break. That was the book I was reading to get up there. And the novel Christine is set in very snowy weather. And I was having very snowy weather while I was traveling. So I could really feel the snow and the cold in the Christine book.
Yeah, I like them when that happens.
What did you think of the book, Al? Did you like it,
I
Christine?
can't remember. You know, I know it's about a car.
Have you seen the film, guys? Have you two seen the film?
I saw it when it first came out,
Yeah,
which would have been 80 something.
John Carpenter.
You know, John
You're gonna
Carpenter.
read. Garrett's going to read Nosferatu by
Yeah.
Joe Hill, and Buddy read that with Sonia at the Enthusiastic Reader a couple of years ago during Christmas. So that was an example of a novel by King that coincided with the season, and it really made a sweet difference.
Isn't Nosferatu also about a demonic car?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. So he's ripping off his dad. I love it. But I like Christine. I thought it was great. But I love the rock and roll stuff in it. I love the fact that the car loves rock and roll. You know.
Old time rock and roll.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. And it's got like quotes from rock and roll songs at the beginning of each chapter in it.
Yep. And Leslie said, Duma Key is an excellent, I've never read Duma Key.
I read that and I remember it because I like to paint, and it's about a painter down in the Florida Keys. And, so I enjoyed that book. I remember that. It's great how you can remember old Stephen King books. Love it.
There's a lot of them.
There's a whole lot. The villain of Evil Thing is Leland Gaunt.
That's it. Leland Gaunt. What a great name. Oh, look.
Sorry.
It's all right. Not falling off, which is good. Yeah.
A peace sign on her sweater.
We said that at the same time. What a great name. Yeah. Leland Gaunt.
Gaunt.
Believe
Al, do you know one of the best bass players in the world is Leyland Sklar, isn't it?
Yeah, he's got a good YouTube channel.
Yeah, he has. Yeah.
Yeah,
He did.
he's
He's a bit of a
long-
tangent break, but hey,
Yeah, he'd be a great guy to get on the Monday Night Live show. We wouldn't have to say a thing. He just talk.
Is
He's
he's a
Alan,
bit too famous, surely.
you,
But
you're
he,
the main booker on the show, so if you can get him on, bring him on.
there's a great video where he does the bass line for Susudio, Phil Collins Susudio, and it's so busy. He's like it's like whoa, and he just plays it naturally. Amazing bass player.
with everyone.
Let's go through.
Okay, here's a question from Bed. Would you ever stay in the Stanley Hotel? Did you know Stephen freaked out about how haunted it was?
Stanley
Colorado.
Hotel.
Colorado.
That's not-
That's the basis for the Overlook, I think.
Yeah.
that's-
I was going to say it. Yeah, because I know the Overlook Hotel. I didn't know that was the original.
I would.
Yeah, I would. I think it'd be cool.
I wouldn't. Ghost stories don't bother me in real life, so
I wouldn't do it.
I would.
It's scary. I'd like to go through the
I'd like
labyrinth.
to-
I'd go
I like to
through
have that stuff proven to me, So I'm not necessarily going to seek out haunted places, but one thing that would attract me to that kind of thing would be just to see if it's actually true. Because I don't believe it now, but I'm quite, I'm not going to be like like lack of respect for someone who has felt like they've experienced that. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know.
See me, and I'm just going to pick on Bad because she's in there. Let's just suppose she says, I'm going to go stay at the Stanley Hotel and see if it's haunted. And then I'd sneak down there and not tell her and have like one of those drones.
Huh.
And I'd go have it bump on her window on the outside in the middle of the night and freak her out.
Yeah.
No, I couldn't really do that because I don't really want to actually scare someone when they think something might be real,
Yeah.
It's fun to think about, but not actually do.
Yeah, you're like an evil genius, Greg. You never knew that about him.
I just think about things. I don't actually do that. Oh, here she says, I would so believe I would run so fast.
But I was talking, when we did the Horror Mayhem chat, and I was saying about I played a gig in the most haunted building in Portsmouth. It's a theatre, and there's supposed to be 12 ghosts in there.
Wow.
That was fun. Yeah. And it did get a bit creepy, like when we were packing up, because it was like gone 11. Well, it was about 20 to quarter to 12 by the time we'd sort of packed up and that. And it was a little bit. I mean, it might be because we had it in our heads, but it was like, ooh.
Are you going to go back there and do a vlog in May?
Yeah. It'd be nice to do something on that. Maybe even get someone who believes that the ghosts are there to do like a live stream or something. That'd be fun, wouldn't it?
There's a couple haunted places in Portland, and there's a place. It's a bar, but the Shanghai tunnels are there, and you can do tours where they used to Shanghai the Chinese people in Old Town and kidnap them and put them to work on the docks. That was a real thing. They still have the tunnels. They say that's haunted.
awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, obviously, there's a big history of that in Britain, and because I live in Portsmouth, all the press gangs used to take people from what we call Old Portsmouth, which is like there's like Spice Island Inn and the Still and West, which are like the two pubs down there that are like centuries old, and they used to take them and like chuck them on the ships like the Victory and all that. They used to just press gang them from the seafront. So yeah, it's a big part of our history as well. I find that sort of stuff really fascinating.
Yeah, Portsmouth sounds really, really cool. Down
Yeah,
by
big
Sun-
historic city.
Sun-
Yeah.
We have a
Baltimore's got a bit of a naval history as well, isn't it? Is it Baltimore?
Yeah, that was cool to visit.
Yeah.
Briefly for me, but I love the little bay. They have pirate ships out there.
Cool. Yeah, we've got two tall ships in our dock. So obviously we've got modern warships in our dock and aircraft carriers and stuff. But there are two. So we've got the Victory, which is like a big tourist attraction. We've got that in Portsmouth, and we've got HMS Warrior as well, which is slightly more recent. So it's about 50 years more recent. I think it's like 1850 or something. But obviously, the Victory is older than that, and it's in our dock. And obviously, we've got the Mary Rose Museum as well, which is like bits of the Mary Rose. We've got that here as well.
We don't have a big port like that, like aircraft carriers, but for Fleet Week, they bring in destroyers and that.
Yeah, we got destroyers. Yeah, I mean, I live here because the reason why I live in Portsmouth is my dad worked in the Navy. He was a naval officer. So that's why they moved down here, because they were originally in Wales.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So here's Bad saying, I would so. She said, I said that she'd believe it. She'd run out fast. She'd also enjoy it. Ask for ghost vlogs. I'd be like, I'm so done. Oh man, now I'm tempted. I was in the cemetery and there were sinkholes. Renee had to explain that it was the coffins that cave in. I was like, oh, I didn't realize that because it was incredibly old cemetery and neglect. I saw that in New England. We had a teacher. We had a trip to New England, and we were going on one of these woods where they had these really old cemeteries that have not been kept up, and they were all sunken. He says, "Oh yeah, those are the collapse of the coffins over time."
Yeah, it happens in NOLA, New Orleans, all the time too.
Yeah.
So when you go,
the book buds.
Book buds. That'd be Joe. Nice one. Yeah, we've been chatting on Voxer. It's cool. We're coming by these.
Do we have in, or do we have both of them?
Well, yeah, I'm assuming Joe might not be. Maybe both of them.
Hello, whoever's there.
When's the band going to New Orleans again, Gareth?
July the 15th.
Okay. I'll
Very excited.
Ask you about a half dozen more times throughout the year, but July, I'll try to remember that. Yeah. That's when
New Orleans is a really cool town. I've been there once.
Yeah, really excited about it.
That was before Katrina, but it was just.
Yeah, and I have a musician friend. He's professional Grammy Award harmonica player, Jason Ritchie. I'll give you his phone
you said
number.
we're gonna. Yeah, get us hooked up because we love to play. Richie's talking about taking his guitar, but it's a little bit more. I don't know, a bit risky because sometimes airplanes lose the guitars and stuff, don't they? So I don't know, but he needs to bring one.
In the song "United Breaks Guitars."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I think it is United that we're on as well, or it might be British Airways. But yeah, anyway, a bit of a risk, but we'd love to if we could borrow a couple of guitars. It'd be great to do like an open mic. I'd love it. I think we'd go down all right.
Yeah, you have a good time.
It'd be cool. Yeah, I'd love it.
Queen Mary is haunted, and you can stay in it. Pretty cool.
Nice.
Book buds. I can listen to Gareth all day. And I think we just have Joe here. Oh, hello, Joe.
I bet you say that to all the boys.
All right, so we've sort of delved off of End of the Watch. Have we pretty much discussed what we want to discuss about that book?
I think so.
Any last subjects you want to talk about?
I think everyone talks in general. I think we can all agree that Stephen King's very popular, right?
Yes,
he's very popular. And he says himself that he's never really enjoyed a lot of critical praise because it's kind of like because it's popular, therefore he gets like praise from the public more than he gets praise from critics. But I think people don't necessarily talk about how versatile he is. I think he doesn't like being called just a horror writer because he writes so many different kinds of books. I think this trilogy is a good example of that. There's all sorts going on.
Every book he writes is different. I like defend Stephen King every chance I get. Not that I, get a lot of chances, but a lot of people say, "Oh, he's always writing about writers. He's always writing about."
Yeah.
But, I think every book is different.
Yeah. I think when you write, God knows how many books he's written, and like half a dozen are about writers. You go, oh yeah, he always writes about writers. It's like, really? You know,
He does that. Let's see if we can name the main ones about writers.
Misery.
Misery, Dark Half,
Yeah. Finders Keepers.
Finders Keepers,
The Shining.
The Shining.
Yeah, The Shining. Is that it?
No, he has to have more than that.
But it might not be that many more. Do you know what I mean? It's like people keep saying that's all he does. And it's
Whoa,
like, oh.
no, there's one novella that he wrote.
Oh, in that case, there's one novella as well, Greg. That must mean that that's all he does.
No. He has. It was again where someone was claiming a writer stole his story.
Yeah,
It says, "You stole my story."
yeah, that rings a bell.
I can't remember.
Is the main character in the body a writer that's reflecting on his childhood?
I think so.
Okay, but again, it's like not really part of the plot. It's just a framing. It's a framing device, isn't it?
Well, that's the job that he knows.
Right.
Yeah, well, that's that as well. But
Right about
I need to write about teaching.
Yeah.
I've almost done that a few times, but it's just a bit. I don't know. I kind of got bored of the idea as soon as I started thinking about it. But
Well,
I had a really good idea earlier for a story and I've forgotten it. How terrible is that?
Gotta write it
I got
down.
really excited about
I know Jim's really enjoying your one novel, Gareth.
it.
The
Brown
title,
Yelp Gang.
yeah,
The Brown Yelp Gang.
go rock musicians or a band.
Yeah, I really hope he is. Yeah, it's just designed to make you laugh. So I really hope he does laugh. It's really stupid,
Oh,
but in a lovely magical way.
cool. Then I would like it too.
Go get it. If I sent you one, it would cost about 30 quid to send it to you. So
I know. Yeah, I'll just wait till I pop over and you can sign it for me. Subscribe it.
there we go.
Because I plan on going to see you and Ali, and he's by the sea. And then
Yeah.
Roz, who's going to be on Monday show, she lives in Sussex. And I'll just take the train up to London from Brighton.
I'd love to
See,
take you around London.
Cobain up there.
Yeah. Yeah, it'd be cool. I'm hopefully seeing Roz on tomorrow because there's a big London meetup tomorrow.
Oh, is there?
Yeah,
I'm
cool.
hoping Roz will be there. Roz was there last time, so I'm hoping she'll be there this time. I don't know
Excellent.
who's going. There was 26 of us last time.
I heard about
Booktubers
that.
or just?
26 booktubers.
Oh wow!
Yeah, nobody took
You
it.
must have like a huge concentration. Well, you're in London. You're not really London Port, but you're in the London metropolitan area.
It's 2 hours on the train, so it's
Okay,
not too
2
bad.
No,
Yeah,
not,
from Brighton.
Yeah.
now, is
Yeah,
Ollie
there's some
London
around
or
Brighton.
Ollie Portsmouth too.
Say again?
Ollie, is he London or is he Portsmouth? I
But
can't
he's
remember.
seaside.
Ollie's in Brighton, so Ollie's about an hour train from me,
Okay.
so in a different direction. So it might actually be around the same sort of time frame for him to get to London as well, but it's just a different direction.
Oh, he
Um,
lives in the opposite end of London.
No, he lives in Brighton,
Brighton.
or,
Okay.
or near Brighton.
You
Yeah,
take
Brighton.
to London from Brighton.
Yeah, my
That's
son lives in
a-
Brighton.
Great conversation. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful weekend. Joe
Yeah, you
loves
too.
Misery.
Yeah,
Obviously has inspiration to ideas. Movies are a great hit. Stephen King has done well. He's
he has done well. It's true.
one of the most popular writers ever.
Yeah,
So Leslie says, I have found that some of the younger booktubers do nothing but complain about Stephen King. It really irritates me. I don't think they actually read the books.
Yeah.
well, the trouble is they some of them, because I know what you mean, and some of them just get really worked up about things that you could just say are a fault or a problem or an issue, but they'll just write off the entire book because of it, or him completely, and you just think, well, it's not really, writing off an author because of one sentence or because of one particular character. It just seems a bit silly. But there's some younger booktubers do that sometimes.
Well, here's the thing about when I was growing up and entering high school, Stephen King was just hitting the big time. I remember when The Stand came out, it was just, oh, what is this book? This is a really great author. And it's just, I mean, like I said, he wasn't an establishment. He was like this new phenomenon that came out. So I sort of like got to witness that part.
Yeah.
But for the younger ones, he's been an established, famous author since before they were reading books. It's just like, who is this guy who's hogging all the limelight?
Yeah. So they are coming from a different angle. They're coming from a is he really that good kind of angle. So that's a different target, isn't it?
It is. It's like it's Stephen King. I could see him making his way growing up, and by the time that he's already there, so they say, "Well, let's knock him down."
They might pick this up and they might go on and impress me. Do you know what I mean? Which is not the way to read a book. But if you're already a little bit irritated by somebody being that famous and popular, you're like, go on in, impress me. See if you can impress me. I dare you. You know, and that's all. You're already disliking it before you've even started.
Right. That's what I like. Is some authors that I'm trying to remember write under pseudonyms, and this is really what brought Stephen King to write under the Bachman. Is that I just want to write a book and have it judged for being what it is instead of being a Stephen King book.
Yeah.
And then he wrote Thinner, and someone said, "This really sounds like a Stephen King book."
Yeah.
And then outed him.
Yeah.
Thinner.
I like Thinner.
Yeah.
I remember reading Thinner.
Again, I like the ending.
I can't remember the ending.
I barely remember. I'm really stupid. I had an original Richard Bachman edition of Thinner before he was outed, and I got rid of it somehow. And I'm going like,
I love. There's a version that Michael K. Vaughan brings up, and it's got a picture of Richard Bachman on the back, isn't it?
Yeah, I had that one.
Oh, wow.
That's awesome. I love that. It's just a made-up picture. I love it. It's brilliant. That's how to do a pseudonym, minute to actually have a picture of this guy as well, who isn't him. Amazing.
I sometimes wonder if there's other famous authors who are publishing out there, and they have their books and they're going, you don't know.
Yeah. Well, I really like Claire North. I've praised Claire North a lot on my channel, and she's written stuff under 3 different names. I mean, she doesn't really use them as pseudonyms because she tells everyone who she is, and they're like just different sides of her writing. But that's weird that she publishes under 3 different names. I think her real name is Claire North. But yeah, I'm not absolutely certain now that I've said it out loud.
I have read. Did she write something? 15 Lives of August. Someone. Okay, that was a good one.
Brilliant. Yeah, it's a brilliant book. Yeah. That's her most famous book, and it's brilliant. Yeah.
You know what I like to say?
Say again?
Nom de plume.
Yeah, it's a nom de plume. Yeah.
Nom de plume.
Well, Gareth, you've heard of the science fiction author Ian M. Banks.
Yeah. I mean, he divides his books up by an M, doesn't he?
Well, he did because he's writing literary fiction.
Yeah.
And then I don't know who told him it's like you go on. Is that he's going to upset some literary fiction people? Say this is science fiction, and then some science fiction authors like this is literature.
And he's like, I'll make it easy for people. I'll say M, Ian M. Banks.
You still know it's me. It's just you'll like it this way if you like science fiction. If you're into literature, just don't read anything with M in it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's also because we're going to be reading this month, aren't we?
Yes, we are.
I thought P.D. James was a guy, didn't I?
Yeah, you did.
I think you
did. Yeah, P.D. James is the lady.
In a time when women were not considered to be real mystery writers,
I thought S.E. Hinton was a man.
Who?
S.E. Hinton, The Outsider.
Ah.
The Outsiders.
Yeah. I know what you mean.
I don't know.
Pony Boy, and they're all smoking Marlboros and eating Hershey bars, drinking Cokes. Yeah,
And obviously, I knew that James Titchery Jr. was a woman, and that was a decision that she made, wasn't it?
Yep.
And there's lots of it historically, isn't there? But yeah, it's interesting that the whole Richard Batman thing with Stephen King, because a lot of people think that they're just not as good as the Stephen King ones, but I think it's a little bit more nuanced than that, isn't it?
well, I love Running Man. I'll never forget that.
Yeah.
He did write one like Road Work, which was like just a book like it's neither Stephen King. I don't remember that one. I never read it, so
I read it.
Yeah.
It's good. Road Work.
yep, I agree. Stephen King's a creative writer. Great Time to Laugh, Gareth. Great Medicine. Gareth, have you ever bumped into Ollie?
When we first started connecting on BookTube, I was sending you a message saying, should we meet up? And we haven't done it yet, but we have talked about it. So I go to Brighton all the time. So I think it's just like I haven't done it at a time when he was free yet. So it's either that or he's just been polite. And he's like, yeah, I'm not free yet. Could be that.
I'm sure he was on to meet you, Gareth.
Oh, here's bad. She wants me to tell you a story. She wanted to order a very cool old edition of Clive Barker's The Hellbound Heart.
Right.
You know, one of the old paperbacks that's kind of neat. And she ordered from Amazon. It was like $22. So it was a little expensive, but it's worth it. Then she got it. And she said the cover was partly torn and it was covered with stickers that couldn't be removed. And she's like really upset that the seller basically lied, saying it was in good condition, and it wasn't in good condition. I have run into instances like that when, especially in thrift books, that the condition is not what it says. Hold on, I'll show you one. Let's see. All right. Okay. I ordered a book from Thrift Books that's supposed to be a like new hardcover edition of a book. All
Right. Yeah. Like new. That's a big statement. Like new. Yeah.
Look what I got.
Not even hardcover.
Not even hardcover. And it's a book of the month paperback.
Oh.
It's not even a real trade paperback. Now, the one thing I will say is that the Book of the Month Club's ISBN numbers are identical to the hardcover.
Okay.
So when someone was selling, they typed in the ISBN and it came, they just did not actually look at what the description said on the screen and what it said, what they're physically holding.
Yeah.
I mean, I could have returned it, but it was $5. And is this really worth a $5?
Yeah. It's funny, isn't it? Because I distinctly remember, because I'm old enough, when eBay first happened, and it was a huge risk because there was tons of people lying about what they were doing, and it was before the rating system existed. I don't think eBay had a rating system when it first started, and it was like, and people just rip people off. And now I think it is unusual because this happened to me as well. But I think it's unusual. World of Books are terrible, by the way. I wouldn't trust World of Books, but it's happened to me a few times. But it is relatively rare compared to when eBay first started. When you're like, you're lucky if you got what you asked for,
Yeah.
So it's kind of interesting, isn't it? The way that we've kind of assumed it's going to be fine now, but that's because it's got better. It's got a lot better. When it first started.
This is the book that she got. It's got you can see the sticker, and it's missing a corner on the cover.
Yeah, that's not good.
I know she just sent me that, but I said, yeah, that's when you tell the seller, not as described. Send it back to Amazon.
Yeah.
And I said, I'm going to go look for that book in the used bookstores near me. See if I can find one for her.
Yeah, it's
Who knows?
great.
I might find
Yeah.
one, $5 or less. Send it her way.
Yeah. That's actually the only Clive Barker book I've read so far.
Oh,
Oh,
Clive Barker's a really interesting author.
yeah,
I
I like
yeah.
his first novel, Damnation Game, a
Oh,
lot.
Damnation Name is fantastic.
Mhm.
Do you think he's better than James Herbert?
They're
The
kind of
reason why I ask is they're both British horror writers, aren't they? They're like big renown. So
Okay, let me say it this way. I have read some other James Herbert way back when I was in high school, early 80s. But within the past 10 years, I have only read The Rats by James Herbert. And I've also read The Damnation Game in the 80s and then reread it about 5 or 6 years ago. Damnation Game to The Rats, I think Rats is more iconic. It just has this newer vibe, just the killer animal. But overall, Damnation Game is a better book.
right. And then
If
have you read
I'm
like,
making any kind of sense
Blood?
right there.
is that the only Clive Barker one you've read then?
No, I have read Weave World, which is sort of a mix between horror and fantasy.
fantasy, yeah.
Yeah.
I have read The Hellbound Heart,
Right.
and I've
Pinhead.
read the first and second books of Blood.
Right. So you've got a good impression of him. So you think he's pretty strong then?
He's pretty strong. I mean, some of this, obviously short story collections, you're going to have stronger short story. No, I lie. I read which ones? I read these two in the 80s as well. So I've read 4 out of the 6 books of Blood. I forgot about these. That was
Is
a
one of
long,
those
long.
on the Great Secret Show?
What?
Is one of those the Great and Secret Show?
I have The Great and Secret Show as a novel.
That's
I
good
tried to read that when it first came out, and I didn't really gel with it.
Right. Yeah,
So I didn't-
Imageka, his novel, is it Imageka or Imagica?
Imagine I
Oh,
have that book in the,
Magica.
That was kind of
Yeah.
difficult for me to read.
that's more of a fantasy,
Yeah.
Yeah.
or a cross between fantasy and horror.
I
Yeah,
like
one of my
Weave-
close friends loves his fantasy stuff more than the horror stuff.
Yeah, I like Weave World. That was a good one, I thought.
Weave World is nowhere near as good as Damnation Game, though.
No, Damnation Game's like straight up horror.
Yes.
Boy, there's the character. Boy, I got a spoiler in that. I'll never forget. I won't say it, but
Which character is it? Is this the Razor Eater?
well, he eats more than razors.
Okay, we're just establishing the character, the Razor. We'll just leave it at the Razor Eater, and make people want to pick up that. I'm trying to get Bad to pick up the Damnation Game because I think she'd really like
Yeah,
that.
she'd like it. Yeah, and then she could read Gravity's Rainbow because there's another character, Pudding. Is it Colonel Pudding? He's similar in a way.
Oh, I see. Colonel Pete is named for that reason, right? It's all about eating.
Yeah. Yeah. It's one of the sickest parts of Gravity's Rainbow.
So Bad is going. I'm still angry like Jack from The Shiny. Where's my axe? I'm so. Oh, she's talking about that book that she got.
Oh.
She wants to go Jack on them. You do that. Bad.
I thought you were going to say that Bad returned the book and then realized it was like a first edition. That's why it was all like banded up, or
I don't know,
Well,
but
what about-
I'm just from the picture, it's like that was not a good addition, and they should have described it better.
I mean,
So I
stuff like
think
that happens in bookstores. I have an example, not of a book, but of a record store. I go to this record store in my neighborhood and see how these edges are cut out from the record. This is an original, like Todd Rundgren album. It had like postcards in it. Didn't have that, but I bought this for like $10, and I immediately looked on, like online. It goes for like 50, on up, just for being original. But
Yeah.
you can find like finds if you look in used bookstores. And record shops.
Sometimes you do, but bookstores are getting much better
True.
at putting their books through the internet and seeing what's going on, what's going.
Exactly.
But you might find a find
Those
here
two.
and there.
Yeah, I was surprised and with that record, and then you're always like, "Well, God, hurry up and sell it to me before you realize what you got."
All right. So yeah, she sent me the photo. Oh, Dave and Olive. Hello.
Hey. Also, it's my partner.
Saying hello to Dave and Olive.
Yeah, I can't believe it's Friday already. I'm going out to lunch.
Yeah,
Or to that.
weekend starts here.
It does. And you know, my wife's playing pickleball, and got to think about where we're going to go out to eat tonight. If we go out,
Oh, I
to eat.
thought you'd have to cook, but it's good.
You know, we usually go out on Friday nights just because why
Yeah.
not? You know, just like keep the date night tradition going after 30 years, right?
Have you
Yeah, that's
found
brilliant.
New places in town, but besides that Thai place you like?
There's always new places, but nothing comes to mind. We don't have any taste for anything tonight, so maybe we'll stay home. I don't know. It depends.
Well, before my wife left, she marinated some chicken and into this awesome flavor I had last night. She done it again on another bit of chicken, so I'm looking forward to that.
Oh,
It'll be a
that sounds good.
mix of flavors. Be nice.
And there's Leslie. I have to run. This is
Leslie's gone.
great. Byron. Goodbye, Leslie. Thank you for
Leslie.
showing up. In Pittsburgh, finished college tour. I think I'm going to check out this real looking cool used book. Oh, I guess he's in Pittsburgh.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
that's
thought,
cool.
I thought he lived in Connecticut or something.
yeah, he does. Pittsburgh.
Yeah, is Pittsburgh near that? I don't know where Pittsburgh
Pittsburgh's
is.
like
Pennsylvania.
it's a jumping town anymore. I know a girl who moved from Portland to Pittsburgh, and a lot of people are. I hear good things about Pittsburgh. It used to be like all steel and real kind of grimy and dirty and that, but now it's coming back out.
Well, they have to reinvent. I mean, basically, the steel industry has left Pennsylvania. I mean, it used to be huge. You know, you call what was it? You used to call it the Steel State or something like that.
Yeah, the Steelers football team. Yeah, they named it after Steelers. Yeah.
I think he's just commented on that. Yeah.
I do live in Connecticut. Just in Pitt to visit the university for my daughter.
Good
Yeah.
times. That's cool.
Yeah.
I
Some
love
big
college
yeah.
campuses.
Well, Dave, just be thankful your daughter's not going to Bennington.
Yeah, like
Garrett, you may know Bennington is probably the most expensive college in the United States.
didn't Donna Turk
okay.
teach? Donna Turk?
Where is Bennington? Where is Bennington?
Vermont.
Oh, right. Okay. So that's like the posh area anyway, isn't it?
I remember when I was back at working in Washington, my supervisor daughter got into Bennington. And he wore a t-shirt on like Friday. My daughter and my money go to Bennington.
Yeah.
Here's Dave. There's a really wild looking used book place about a half mile away. Gonna do some
Awesome.
I'm getting excited about I'm on book 89. I'm finish book 89 today.
Oh, that means you'll be finished tomorrow then.
What?
The way you read.
No, I'm really not a fast reader. So it can take me a few hours to finish a 100-page book, so it's
Yeah. You just got more time, innit?
I just have more time when I'm not doing live streams.
Are we going to talk about what we're reading, by the way?
You want to?
Well, I thought I just in case it came up, I've got.
Why not? I mean, we have strayed from All About Holly, so It's fine.
Yeah. But no, good luck, Dave. Hope you find some cool things.
I
And,
hope so too.
Dave,
Be nice to have another
I'm sure
book
you
haul.
will.
Yeah.
Every time I
I
go
hope
into
I'm
a
hoping to get a
bookstore,
book haul from London tomorrow. Say again now.
every time I go into a bookstore or record store, I always come out with something.
Have you got
Uncanny.
have you got your channel in mind as well? Go, talk about this on my channel. Have you got that in your head?
Yeah.
It's different, isn't it, when you got a channel? So I am probably going to start this tonight. If not tonight, then tomorrow night. Children of Men.
Cool.
But I am reading this, The Illustrated Man, in a minute.
Oh, I read that a few years ago.
Yeah. And it's so nice going back to it because this was the first Ray Bradbury book I read when I was about 14. So I still remember it. I just read earlier. I read The Veldt, and it was just like I remembered all of it.
I remember the Veldt is my favorite story of the collection.
So good. Yeah.
I mean, that book was written in the 50s, I think.
Yeah. It was.
He just nailed like the internet and virtual reality, like what we're expecting. It's like he just nailed it.
Yeah. 1952.
50, yeah, but it's just such a great story.
Yeah. In the order that I'm reading them, there's this one, which was after the Martian Chronicles, and then after this one, I'll be reading Fahrenheit 451.
Cool.
So yeah, exciting stuff.
I just reread Fahrenheit 451 in January. Or no, wait a second, was that December? I might have read that.
You were talking about that with on the show last Monday, and it's really cool. He threw Faulkner in there. The character was burning Faulkner books.
Oh yeah.
Let me say, Alan, they were burning all books. I mean, it's just every book is not just, but that was someone he came up that obviously Bradbury thought highly of Faulkner.
Yeah, you know what other word I like to say? Homage.
Homage, absolutely homage. Lovely French word.
Homage.
What was I going to say? Talking about banned books, because obviously we're talking about Fahrenheit 451. Today, me and two friends that I work with made a decision. I'm really excited about this. They both are English teachers, and on Tuesday night, we're going to do a live stream talking about teaching banned books and teaching books with bad language in it and like racism in it. Dated books and how they teach it.
Huckleberry Finn.
It's really cool. They've agreed to do it. I think it'd be really good.
That's so cool because Gareth, this morning I read a banned book. I'm not sure it's technically banned, but it's in the banned, censored, restricted, objected to category. It's a really old book, and it's a children's book. And I can give a little bit, but it was written in 1899. Little Black Sambo by Alan Bannerman.
How did you get hold of it?
This is it. I have a CD of public domain books that I bought in 2021. Every book in the public domain in 2021, I have a CD of it. So Little Black Sambo is included on that.
Right.
But it's only the text.
Right.
So I read just the text version and went, this is really rather innocuous.
Right. So that word is clearly offensive, but actually the story itself is not.
Wait. There is no offensive language in that book.
Yeah.
Right.
At least not too much. Well, maybe a little, but nothing. But
like Huckleberry Finn.
Now, if you go to Project Gutenberg, and when I do my banned book video, which will be released next week, I'm going to leave a link. There is a version with the original illustrations.
Okay.
Okay. Once you get to the illustrations, it's really kind of outdated.
Isn't there the point of or something in the story? Sambo spins around and turns into like a cake of butter or something.
Yeah, it's tigers, but it's a children's book,
right?
But when you look at the illustrations, it's what Langston Hughes described as a Pickaninny style,
right? Yeah,
right.
Very sort of exaggerated black
buckwheat
style.
Yeah.
I name it buckwheat.
Yeah, kind of that stuff. But the reason I want to talk about it is that why would it be okay to ban Little Black Sambo, but not ban 451 or Cersei or Huckleberry Finn, all the other ones? People have a mindset of what they think is acceptable and what is not acceptable.
Yeah.
By today's standards, the illustrations in Little Black Sambo are unacceptable.
Yeah.
And people on the left, I'm using the political definition on the left, would want to restrict access to Little Black Sambo. Okay?
Yeah.
If you get people on the right, they're going to go, we want to strict access to books like Gender Queer because they're talking about alternate sexualities that don't fit into their category of what's correct.
Yeah.
Why would it be okay to ban Little Black Sambo, but not Gender
But
Queer?
if you did what you did, if you did with, because it's clearly that word is outdated. But if you did what they did with, and then there were none, where they changed the title of that Agatha Christie book 3 times, just to keep publishing it, and then you changed the name of that book and changed the illustrations. If you think the text is like got no,
I've read the Wikipedia. They have made editions where they've changed the main character from an African American child to a black Labrador dog.
oh, okay, so
Okay.
is that because it is genuinely offensive, or just they just went a little bit too overboard?
Well, I have what would be considered a left opinion of political, social in the American tradition. So I can look at that and say, that's not how we see African Americans today.
Yeah.
Okay. It's just, but if you go on the right, they go, oh yeah, that's what they're really like. That's, you get that point. And that's what I want to talk about, which is, it's good for me to talk about it now, because when I make my video early in the week, I'll be more succinct on my thoughts.
You're even processed.
Is that it's wrong to ban books no matter what side the opinion is. I can disagree with the people banning Gender Queer just because I don't think it's right to, but it's also wrong to ban Little Black Sambo just because I think that vision is outdated.
Right.
Yeah. Well,
it'd be hypocritical for me to say, yes, ban Little Black Sambo. That's good. You're on the right side. And say, no, you're on the wrong side when you ban Gender Queer.
Yeah. I was talking, one of my friends that I'll be talking with on Tuesday. I said about the fact it'd be really cool to talk about what's acceptable and not acceptable, and what it, is it a problem having these books out there? And Lizzie, one of them, said, no, everything should be out there as long as we can talk about it. Yeah,
I totally agree. And
as long as we can talk about it. And that's the thing.
I really recommend you looking up Little Black Sambo on Project Gutenberg. I mean, we can read it for free. You can read it in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And you can see, is this really, would you be offended looking at that caricature of Black people nowadays?
Yeah. There's an amazing quote that they bring up when we talk about this sort of thing, and I'm sure it will come up on Tuesday, and it's just really interesting. And I haven't read Casino Royale, right? I haven't read it.
Okay.
And I was quite surprised when they said there's a scene. It was one of the sex scenes, and the James Bond character. Is it in first person Casino Royale? Do you know if it's in first person?
I think I read Casino Royale in November.
Is it in third person?
It's in third person.
Right. So that means Ian Fleming says that this sexual encounter he has had the sweet smell of rape.
Oh.
I don't remember that one. And I had the unedited original version from Canada, but there was one scene where he was talking about women, and it was like, oh my God, that's a really outdated version of women. I'm sure some sensitivity reader would have gone, oh, gotta cut that out. But what's interesting is that in the James Bond desensitized versions, they cut out the N-word. Oh no, where's Gareth?
There he is.
I just did a little dance.
Yeah, now you're down there.
Oh,
Oh,
there you go. You disappeared for a moment. But in the sensitized version, because I looked it up at Barnes and Noble, they remove the N-word when talking about black people.
Yeah.
But in Casino Royale, there's a scene where they're talking about the Red Indians.
yeah,
Right.
you mentioned that.
And I'm going like, okay,
Yeah. That's outdated. Yeah.
you know, you got if you
But then,
if
but
you're
then
gonna
probably, but it could be the case in 10 years' time they'll go, oh, hold on a minute, we haven't done that, and they'll change that as well. So it's probably a time thing, isn't it, that they haven't noticed it yet, sort of thing. Because
I read 2 books in a row, Giovanni's Room and then The Stranger, that had really derogatory, not only remarks, but they're beating women and things like that. And but I really wanted to bring up the Anarchist Handbook, because I've worked in a few bookstores like Greg, and I know Gareth's worked in music stores and that. Now,
and bookstore. I worked in a bookshop as well for 6 years.
Well,
Yeah.
So there might be they have a section for pornography. That's published, so it's out there, and the Anarchist Handbook is published, so that's available as well. In my mind, that book is more offensive and potentially harmful than Little Black Sambo or Huckleberry Finn
Yeah.
or Casino Royale with
Yeah.
sex.
It depends on who's making the decision, doesn't it? Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting. But yeah, so it's a massively complicated subject and it's really interesting. But I love the fact that there's going to be 2 teachers talking about it who deal with it all the time. So when they teach Casino Royale, which it's a set text that they teach, they use that kind of language and that outdated attitude to women to talk about the whole thing, to talk about attitudes to women, and to talk about feminism, to talk about, do you know what I mean? So it's a springboard to actually have discussions with the students, which I think is cool.
I think that is a much better way to do it.
Oh yeah.
Than trying to cover up what was actually, because what we find offensive today, someone else is going to in 20 years is going to find offensive, and you have to re-edit it again.
Yeah,
Then
absolutely.
you absolutely lose the track. What did the actual author think?
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah, totally agree.
when you read of Mice and Men by John Steinbeck, there is at least one black character, and he gets referred to in 3 different words about his race. And you can probably go to determine the character who's using the word, what they actually think about the character.
Yeah.
Yes, is that through the character's voice, or is it the author describing?
I don't remember that level of detail, other than that there are
I think
3
it makes
different.
I do think it makes a difference because obviously that adds a lot in here.
He does. He does use that word that makes people offensive. And I was actually shocked that he used it.
But he only does it when he's talking about Brady, or it's Brady talking. But it's usually when it's about Brady. So I think it's there deliberately to make him evil.
It is. It shows what Brady really thinks.
Yeah. So I think it's different.
It is.
Context.
So let's go. You go be bad, have fun shopping. I will look forward to it. So happy for you, Dave. Oh, talk about Dave shopping.
Yeah.
Okay, here's a question from Brad. What I don't understand, why are we focusing on banning books when there's so much worse things out there? There's far, far worse things out there. Music, movies, etc. I find it difficult. Well,
there's 2 answers to that. One answer, I'll let you answer that in a sec, Greg, but I've got to say that music and movies get banned as well.
they do.
So that is.
I think she's meaning that it's like this far. I don't think she's meaning far worse thing. I think there's worse things in books, music, movies, etc.
Yeah.
To get worried about out there.
It's all
I mean,
fear-based. It's all fear-based. People worrying about or corruption, worried that words are going to corrupt the youth. It's
Yeah.
just going to make them go out and read it. You know,
Do you know? I don't know if you guys know, because there's no reason why you know about our tax system, but books are exempt.
I don't even know about my tax system.
But books are exempt from VAT in this country. Did you know
Yes.
that?
I do know.
Yeah.
I remember that because I remember when I worked at a bookstore in the 80s, there was a British woman that came in and bought books.
Yeah.
And she says, why are you charging me sales tax for a book? Aren't
What?
they exempt? And I
Yeah,
go,
yeah. So in this country, everything you buy,
Right, has a VAT.
the price includes VAT. Well, that's one thing about us. When we go over to America, we're like, why are you adding stuff when we get to the till? You know, because like anyway, if you go to any shop in the UK, what it says on the front will include the tax, right? So that's the price. There's no
makes
added price once you get to the till. Yeah.
Except if
That's
you're in
okay.
America, but we'll get
Well,
to
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah. So when you go to America, they add it at the till, don't they? So over here, the price includes tax, but books don't have any tax added. It's just the price of the book, and that is because the books are regarded, or when they came up with the tax laws, they regarded books as educational and like something different that they thought shouldn't be taxed because people should be encouraged to read for educational reasons. So I think that might be why books are seen as a different level of responsibility than other art forms, because there's something academic and educational about them.
I see. Cool.
I think.
There's no sales tax in Portland, Oregon's like.
Yeah, well, Gareth, like you were saying, in the United States, that would not work because Alan's saying in Portland, there is no sales tax
Right.
on anything. If you cross the border into Washington State, you get 9.9% sales tax.
Yeah.
So you can't put the price of an item on the item.
So so what you're saying is you guys can't make up your mind.
Well, each state decides
America.
how much sales tax to add.
I know I'm being facetious.
It's all this big muddle, you know. It's just a holy mess.
The country's too big. I know.
It's a trip when I travel though, and they charge me tax, and I'm going, what? I'm not used to it.
Yeah.
What might happen is if Donald Trump gets in and you get a proper dictatorship, then maybe you'll all have the same sales tax.
Well, that's
No,
not gonna
well,
affect me
he's going to add a 10%. He says a 10% import tax from every country in the world, which will essentially crash the world economy.
Now, well, if he becomes our president,
It's such a
that's why
bright spark,
you
isn't it?
move to Portsmouth. So I'll be up.
Mass exodus.
Well, Alan, if he became president, he would have to close the borders to stop
for
people
us
from leaving.
Yeah. That's a
All
good-
borders are closed. No, all borders are closed. No one coming in, no one coming out. I can't do
I like
that.
that's the first Trump impression we've had from Greg. That's brilliant. I love it.
Uh-huh.
I'm not good, but no. Here, going to bad thing. It's like people get really upset about what they read, or some people get really upset about reading books or seeing movies. And honestly, I just don't get it at all. When I was in high school in the 80s, we had movies, you know, they're rated R. But as I said, you know how you got into an R-rated movie when you're underage back then?
Through the back door.
Sneak
No.
in. Yeah.
No, you gave the ticket seller $5,
Oh,
sold you the ticket, and he walked in.
Oh,
They
well,
did not.
maybe only if you're rich, Greg. You know, if you're a little poor guy, you can't do that, can you? You haven't got $5.
No, it wasn't bribing. $5 was the cost of the movie ticket. They just did not bother to card people back then. They
No.
didn't
Well,
care.
me and Al were sneaking in the back. That's what we were doing.
Yeah, it's no one cared. I mean, and okay, so you were 15 years old, and guess what? Oh, they said bad words.
you've seen Dog Day
Oh.
Afternoon, yeah.
Yeah, you
There's
loved
no-
it. You loved them saying
no,
bad words.
listen, they might have breasts,
Yeah.
you know.
Or like a movie like Porky's. Remember Porky's?
Yeah.
Howling.
Yeah,
I
we
mean-
all remember that.
I mean, it was just ridiculous. I mean, it's just like I I never saw the value in rating movies and restricting what age you could see a movie at. It's just like
Can I just say, bouncing off that, how you saw R-rated movies, one of the things that happened a lot in the past that can't happen now because there's too many members of staff in the cinemas, but you used to go into see a film and then go and see another one as that one ended, and then go and see another one. Just go from screen to screen.
I still think you can do that, honestly. I think you could.
I couldn't do that in our one down in Portsmouth.
I'd like to see them try to
they have
stop
people
me.
partying.
"Oi,
I'd like
get
to see them
out,"
try
you
to
know.
stop me. Yeah,
No, I mean, it's valid. There's so much going wrong in the world. It's like, why are you worried about what someone reads in a book?
Yeah.
I mean, and when you talk about the LGBTQ community, which is honestly what's really bothering most of the people in America right now, that and race. If you have a kid who has those feelings, they're going to have those feelings anyway.
You need to support them.
ban it or not.
And you know something?
The
It's
bottom
better
line
than
of being a parent is giving them love, isn't it? That's the bottom line of being a parent, giving them love.
unless you're one of those conservative Christians who kick them out when you find that out. Which
Absolutely.
is,
Yeah.
who were talking? We were talking in one live stream with Jim, who I think who has some gay sons. He says, "I would never kick my sons out for being gay," which is the
Yeah.
right opinion to have. But you know,
Yeah,
there's
yeah,
something
yeah,
you
yeah.
can do. It's just
Yeah.
so,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
so shocking,
Small minds.
or worse, but equal amount of subject. I'm not sure I think we've covered you bad. I think. So, Greg, the people depicted and harmed in the book have more say than those clutching their pearls because there are accurate descriptions of LGBTQ life, maybe. Yeah, I think that's what we're saying. It's like, I don't see why someone should have the right to say you can't read this because it doesn't depict life as I think it should be.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Bad. If they're going to ban books for certain things, then why are we allowing each other material?
Well, it's all subjective, and that's the point, Jess. That it's these people that think their opinion is more important than other people's opinion.
Right.
They're trying to police the world. They're trying to police literature.
They're trying to enforce their view of the world on someone else. Now, the funniest thing that I ever saw, it's not maybe not the funniest, but there was a leftist YouTube channel who was interviewing like Trump people.
Yeah.
And they're talking
I'm
about
going to a raw proper. I've seen so many of them lately, and it's just so scary.
But here's one they're saying about banning books. And she says, there's a book where daughters seduce their father to have children by him. And they go, oh my God, that's in schools. You should be banned. It should be removed. He goes, that's the Bible, don't you?
Oh, there's all sorts of things in the Bible.
What?
Yeah.
And then they were going like, what?
Or as Trump would say, that's in Corinthians number 2.
Well, I mean, if you want to talk about how out of date the Bible is, read Leviticus. It's mental. It's absolutely mental, Leviticus, isn't it?
I think that's the one where you can sell your daughter into slavery forever, but you can only sell your son into slavery for 10 years or something. I don't know if I got the dates quite right. Something like that.
I mean, it shouldn't really be a surprise that a book can be out of date when it's that old, but hey, there's all sorts of problems with the Bible. But,
No spoilers.
yeah.
The main character dies in the end, but
Well, we all die at the end in Revelations.
Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, Joshua, Judges. I used to be able to name all the.
I saw one video with Trump MAGA people being interviewed, and it was amazing. I was just like, I had to rewind it because basically they mentioned Michelle Obama, and then the guy went, "What do you mean Michael Obama?" And he's like, "What?" And then this person genuinely believed, really passionately, that was a conspiracy in itself. That Michelle Obama was a bloke, and that it was a lie that they were married, and it was a lie that they had kids.
Jeez.
Where do these people get these conspiracies from?
Fringe.
That is just literally insane. It's insane.
Some of these are just so outrageously off kilter. It's just
Somewhere in
You got
Congress.
no answer when they say, "Oh no, Obama doesn't have kids; it's a lie." What can you say to that? Like,
what do you? Those two girls are just actresses.
Deep fake.
yeah, that's what the argument is. I mean, how do they? What's the point of the argument anyway? But also, what?
You've heard of Alex Jones, right, Gareth?
Yeah.
He said that Stony Hook never happened, and those kids were not murdered. They were all trauma actors playing
same
the
here.
part.
I mean, that's dangerous anyway. I mean, all of it's dangerous, but it's just
He got
horrible.
sued, and he owes lots of money. And the
Right.
people now just voted that liquidate his assets and make him pay.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just so insulting, isn't it?
I mean, at some point, it's just, I don't even know if he believed it or if he was just trying to get
It's just
people to
like
buy it.
randomly shouting bullshit.
Well, he sold really, let's just say, quackery, like vitamin substitutes, and that only the most idiotic people would believe anyway. But so Kelly just finished reading Monsters, A Fan's Dilemma by Claire Dederer. I actually like it.
I need to do something.
Reviewers didn't agree. Conclusion of the author is enjoy what you like, even if the material of the artist is evil.
Yeah, I don't have a problem like separating the work of an author from like his life too much.
Yep. Oh, we're having trouble getting Gareth back.
Yeah, sorry about
Yeah.
There we go.
I just had I had a warning on my phone saying I'd used too much data, which is really annoying because I didn't have to use data. I've got Wi-Fi here. So in about 2 weeks, I'm going to run out of data, which is really annoying. But never mind. I just switched it in case it helps. Carry on.
So bad. That woke me up. Breasts. Now my mind is going somewhere else. Thanks. Behave bad. Yes, we like to be bad on our show sometimes. All right. Do we have anything else, gentlemen? Or you want to
No,
just go
I'm done.
on and talk our other subjects? We got
I mean, I
9.
could go on for another 2 hours, couldn't I? But you don't want that.
I know you can. I'm not doing anything. I'll finish my current novella tonight anyway. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Greg, I hope you're ready to start Shadowram because I started it.
I have a lot of books I want to finish. I'm trying to decide if I want to read it piecemeal or get a couple of books.
Swell swoop. Yeah, it's bringing me back. Yeah, I really enjoy the novel. A lot of great ideas, and they're in Bombay, so you got that flavor. And
Yep, I'm looking forward to it. Well, as I said, I'm going to be heading out to Mexico on Wednesday, so
yeah,
be reading that on the beach, or at least reading it on my Kindle on the beach.
Brilliant.
cool.
But no more comments. We had a lull.
There we go. So should we go off and just start reading then? Should we?
Yeah.
I guess we can. I got some videos I have to make because I'm not making videos next week when I'm in Mexico, and I want to stack them up. So it looks like I'm producing stuff.
Yeah.
That's good.
All right. Well, gentlemen, unless there's a final comment from the Peanut Gallery in the chat, give them a second to chime in. And
Oh, Dave said something.
oh, Davis, I thought I need to get to a used bookstore. He's still hanging out. All right, Dave.
What do they have to eat in Pittsburgh? What's it known for?
I have no idea.
I don't either, but I'm trying to decide what I want for lunch. I'm still jonesing for chicken wings ever since the Super Bowl. Chicken nuggets just ain't cutting it. I need to go to get some chicken wings today.
You want to eat the bone?
Yeah.
Chicken wing, I mean, that's not a bad idea. Depending on what time my wife gets home from pickleball. We got a good chicken wing place in downtown
Mhm.
Fredericksburg.
I've got thigh. I like thighs.
Oh, yeah, me too.
That's a quote for the evening. I like thighs.
I like
What?
thighs.
Lord of the Thighs. Lord of the Thighs.
Lord of the
Lord of
thighs.
the thighs. That's probably some sort of parody, right?
Now that sounds like a Garbagist porno book you could write.
I'm still trying to figure out my Garbagis name. Kinda
What big
dangerous.
old hard book? It's not going to be hard. Well, it is going to be hard. That's the point.
It's big hard books and
Big hard owl.
I know I started calling you and Dave Big Hard Gareth and Big Hard Dave. Big Hard Olive.
Nah, flaccid Gareth.
Yeah.
oh boy, Dave, go buy me some naughty stuff too. Just kidding. Something like the Door book.
Jess is very saucy, isn't she?
Indeed. Not sure. Did I see a chicken finger place? He's talking to Jen. All right. As I said, 1 hour and 51 minutes. That's pretty darn good. I
Wow.
know it's not epic as yours, Gareth, but
Yeah, but people are watching this.
there are a few people. But they got to at least one person there has to get to a used bookstore.
Yes. Yeah, we're going to hopefully see the fruits of his labor.
I hope so too. All right. Well, next month, Alan's hanging up The Outsider, and
Yeah. Yeah,
We
I'm
will-
going into this. Yeah, I don't know anything about it.
I don't know either. I know it's not set in the same location as the other books. It looks like
Okay.
I peeked a little bit ahead. That's about all that I know, and it's the longest one of the ones we've read so far. It's the longest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
550 some pages.
I think
Yeah.
Holly's quite big, isn't it? Is Holly quite big, or is it just what it looks like from a distance? Is it quite big?
I don't have a copy of Holly. I don't know.
Yeah. So,
All right, guys.
Yeah.
I liked our talk. Thank you
it was
both
awesome.
for showing up. Thank you, everyone in the chat room, for showing up. And we're going to call it a night.
Thanks,
Goodbye.
Greg.
Stephen is